This is 7 Dooms for Sandpoint, Chapter 2, Strange Times in Sandpoint, Episode 21. Natalin. You dream of the sea again. But this time, the water is not calm. There is no gentle hush, no warm current cradling your limbs. There is only cold, biting, black, bottomless. You plummet through it, deeper and deeper, lungs burning, limbs heavy, pressure crushing down on you like the weight of a god's silence. You try to breathe, as you once could in dreams, but no breath comes. Salt floods your mouth. The sea presses in from every side, thick and merciless. You thrash, a shadow in the dark, struggling toward the surface, but it slips away. Flicker of silver far above. The currents tear at you. The same waters that once parted for your step now drag you like a corpse. You are drowning, Natalin. Then you see it. Light. Your hand breaks through, grasping at the air before your mouth can. You erupt from the surface with a ragged cry. Salt slick hair plastered to your face, the taste of the ocean sharp on your tongue. Around you, the storm howls. Waves crash like collapsing cliffs. The sky churns with monstrous clouds, lit from within by forks of white fire. Thunder lashes the world in violent cadence. Winds scream across the water, ripping at trees on the distant coast, bending them to breaking. The rain falls sideways. The sea roars its fury. But you float, unmoved. The waves do not toss you. The wind does not batter you. You rise, not sinking but lifted, drawn upward out of the water by unseen forces. The water rolls beneath you like breath, wild but no longer your master. Above, the heavens split. A bolt of lightning descends, not near, not beside, but into you. It strikes your chest and does not stop. Light fills your body, searing through muscle and bone. Your back arches, your arms stretch wide. For a moment, you are not flesh. You are force. You are pressure and wind and fury incarnate. Your eyes snap open, blazing with stormlight. And in that white-hot instant, you understand. You are still a child of Gosray. You always will be. But you are not the patient tide. You are the tempest. It's morning, following...
That was bitchin', dude. Oh my god.
It's morning following the ritual to summon Noalia's spirit forth.
Which was successful.
We did
it.
You all awaken to find that you have an invitation waiting for you. An invitation for breakfast on the Sandpoint Cathedral courtyard veranda with Father Xanthus. He wishes to speak with you about what happened at the ritual last night. Do you all attend breakfast?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Lumi would be helping to even prepare it as well.
I'm reminded by both Tamiko and Hawkmere that I owe you a birthday domain die.
Yay!
So before we
Happy
get too far into
birthday.
stuff,
Thanks.
I should specify that's Cari we're talking about.
It's my birthday today. Woohoo!
I might even find a reason for you to have to use that today.
Oh.
There'll be plenty of rolling happening tonight, so you may yet need them. Alright, so Lumi is helping to set the table and prepare things for the breakfast. Everybody else showing up, I believe. As you all arrive, you notice, you've been invited a couple of times to breakfast on the veranda here in the courtyard, and it's much the same. Though it's been a few times, Father Xanthus doesn't skimp on the spread, as it were. Lots of good eats. And you do notice, though, that very quickly after everybody arrives, Odrani appears, but she does not take a seat. She has her traveling clothes on. And Father Xanthus rises from his seat as she comes into the room, and she looks around at all of you and says, "Oh, good. We're all here. I am heading back to Roderick's Cove, where I intend to remain for the rest of the year. I have hired some sturdy men and women to serve as escorts on the road. After the experience getting here, I felt that it was in my best interest. I want to thank you all for your assistance in the ritual last night. I believe that Abstalar will be talking to you in great detail about what that means and the things to come. I will be praying the blessings of Desna upon you, as you no doubtedly are capable of dealing with the challenges you will be facing. Sandpoint is in your hands. She doesn't make any move to shake any hands or hug anyone or anything like that. She just simply looks around and realizes, well, I will be off then. And then she turns and says, Abstalar. And just kind of motions with her head slightly, and he follows her into a side hallway. And then after a few moments, he returns, and you hear her footsteps receding down the hall and down some stairs. And probably within the next 10 minutes, you'll, though distantly, you'll hear the unmistakable sound of horses and a carriage and everything being striking out for the road north to Roderick's Cove.
I would lean to Natalin and I would say, it really seems like they are an item, doesn't it?
As you lean in towards Natalin, you're going to notice a few things. Number one, there's wind. Well, you don't feel the wind, but it's like there's a wind around her. Her hair is constantly moving. Her clothing is like blowing in this breeze. She has a shimmer of like water on her skin, as if she was just outside in a drizzle. But you know it was not raining just a while ago. But the weirdest thing is that when you lean in to whisper, you might maybe accidentally brush shoulders with her, but you are zapped like
Oh,
a
God.
shock.
So I would say it really does seem like they are an item. Ow! Shit!
I don't like to assume when people are in or not a relationship. I find it can lead to trouble, but they do seem close. I agree.
And it was I think the shock was vigorous enough that like Velynia can still kind of like feel it in her fingertips, kind of like if you've ever been shocked, you can like feel it for a while. I think that's kind of what's happening. It's like, yes, I suppose in the future I should not be so nosy. And I kind of step cautiously a little bit away from Natalin.
Everyone, make a perception check.
Amazing. Perception. 23.
21.
13. We're starting out strong.
You unmuted your Zoom, yet you're still muted, Tamiko.
No, what?
Now I can hear you.
Okay.
Hey.
25.
Ooh. The
Millie.
most perceptive of us.
While Natalin and Velynia are sharing whispers, you notice that as Father Xanthus comes back or rather out onto the veranda, he stops just before he comes out, and only you can see him. But he takes a moment and he just kind of adjusts his robes and he kind of goes before he walks back into the room.
Yes.
Or onto the
my.
veranda. He
Millie just kind of smirks. She keeps it to herself.
he has a faint pink glow in his cheeks. But it's overshadowed by the weariness.
Hmm.
He strained himself quite a bit in the ritual last night and looks unrested.
We don't know how Adrani identifies.
He sits down at the table with you all and looks around and he says, well, there's no need to wait. Sit, eat, drink. We have much to talk about. And at first, he busies himself with just taking longer than necessary, being more detailed than he needs to, cutting a bagel and putting smear on it, and making sure that he has exactly the right mixture of cantaloupe and honeydew and watermelon and the right complementary cheeses. And he's fussing with his plate in a way that it's like somebody that's deliberately trying to occupy themselves. But at a certain point, he just kind of places his hands on the table and he says, I am troubled. I'm very concerned about the 7 dooms that were foretold by Nualia's spirit, and what that means for Sandpoint.
Father, I think it might be worth exploring that perhaps Nualia is playing on our very paranoia. I mean, what greater curse could she put on us than that there's always something right around the corner? these dooms. It could be nothing more than a ghost story to make us constantly worried and wondering and frightened.
Given the troubles of the past few decades and the sincerity with which Nualia presented warnings, I'm convinced that it is far more than ghost stories or something trifling. There is some dire plot underway here. You mentioned in your earlier forays beneath the boneyard when you were dealing with those, what did you call them, goblins? That there was mention of Rip Nugget.
Yes.
That in itself is troubling. Rip Nugget was leader of the goblin bands back in the days that preceded the times of troubles. It was thought to have long since been dealt with. He looks to you, Lumi. Curious, too. The number 7. 7 has always been an important number in Old Thassalon.
Normally, this Lumi would be perking up and giving some long-winded explanation about the number 7, the numerology of ancient Thassalon, but instead, she has just that little nickel fork in her hands, and she's poking at the cantaloupe and pieces of food on her plate, and she seems very quiet and reserved today.
Father Xanthus kind of frowns just a little bit, like he was setting you up to share some of your knowledge, and seeing you not take the bait, he turns back to the rest of you all. In the old lore of Thassalon, number 7 held significant importance and was interwoven with their philosophies, their magic, their political structure. There were the 7 virtues of rule, the 7 rune lords, 7 deadly sins.
Oh, 7 points on that star of theirs.
Exactly, the Sahedrins have 7 points. 7 domains or realms, 7 schools of rune magic, and now 7 dooms. I have long since left any hope of an adventuring life behind me, but there's a small part of me that lives vicariously through your exploits. I need your help. Could everybody please make me a sense motive perception check?
Oh boy. 23.
12.
11.
Oh, it continues. Also 11.
Okay.
I win.
He continues kind of moving the pieces of fruit around on his plate, but he doesn't... Actually, he hasn't taken a bite of anything. I need your help in researching and investigating the pit southwest of town. There are a number of people around town here that you could ask. Well, some of you who have been here longer than others may even know more than I do about it, or there's always old Broderick Quink, who has quite an extensive bit of knowledge, and, well, what he doesn't know is contained in the books upon his shelves. I would also like you to keep an eye out for any other dangers that you might sense developing now that you have this information about these forthcoming dooms.
Lumi remains silent upon the doom of the Hailstorm Flume that she discovered. She's not ready to parcel that knowledge to everyone else yet.
Well, gang, when do you think we should go check out the pit? I'm not doing anything else today. I would have to swing back.
I am by no means suggesting that you should venture to the pit today. Lest you get yourself in over your head. Ask around. Talk to Quink. Find out what you can.
Oh.
Before you go venturing into... I only say this because I know of your penchant that when you find holes in the ground that need delving, you seem to all dive head first and... Well... I would like to see you return.
Well, I have a few people down by the docks that I could ask, that have been around for a while, that might know, information as it comes and goes. I could go ask them.
Any of you that have... I guess any of you, because you all live in Sandpoint. And I believe even the shortest of you have been here for a number of months. The shortest residing, time-wise, not the shortest in stature.
Not the shortest height.
So, any of you could just right now, if you wished to, as a research task, attempt to recall knowledge. And that would be in Society or Sandpoint lore.
Okay. I've rolled 3 23s tonight. This is very weird. 23, Society.
Okay.
I rolled 26 for lore local town.
Okay. So a 23 and a 26.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Lumi only got an 11 for Society.
Okay.
Sorry, 12 because it's recall knowledge, right?
Yes.
Yes, so 12.
Millie?
Oh, I don't even remember. I heard their 20s and just clicked it away.
Canceled out.
Just canceled.
This is one where in a research task, and especially when we're with recall knowledge, it's cumulative. It's not like whoever did the best.
Okay, hold on. Society was 18.
Okay.
That's not bad.
Not great, but
So-
not bad.
We're only level 5.
You've earned 1 research point regarding the pit.
Yay!
In total. Sorry, 2 research points in total. Velynia and Natalin had the numbers for it. So somebody make a note that you have 2 research points on the pit.
I think Lumi's keeping track of research points. Oh.
I'm
You
not.
had you
I guess
you,
I
you
will
earned-
now, yeah, sure.
So-
Yeah, sorry, dude. I didn't mean to voice that on you. I just thought
FYI,
you
I
had
put
Well,
that in the
sure.
notes. Like,
So-
FYI, I'm not keeping track of research
research
points.
points.
So research points are going to be important to keep track of because there's every time you come back
Yeah.
to town and talk to people, different things have research topics.
Okay.
Lumi was keeping track of her research points because she was the only one researching the Hellstorm Flume.
That's what I'm remembering. I'm sorry, dude. I didn't mean
I'm
to voice
generally-
that off on you.
I'm generally
written it
going to
down.
remember.
I have now recorded it.
Wait, hang on. I can just put a tab in our loot sheet.
Oh, that's a great
Research
idea.
points are kind of like loot.
They are.
In a
They
way.
are kind of. So you said that we got one
So-
research point.
Maybe
Two?
the
You have
real
two
treasure.
total, and you'll get a piece of information because of that. So, footnote, in the interest of, hey, we're all still learning to play Pathfinder, I was telling Vi and Kaeryn at the beginning that I discovered that I had misunderstood or misinterpreted how the research works. Where I had told you all that you had certain thresholds at certain levels, and that later you can come back and learn more things, that was incorrect. Every research topic has a maximum number of research points available to it. And generally speaking, between 1 and 4 avenues of research. Once
So
you
what did we just get those points in?
So you all got those for
The
the pit using recall knowledge. Nobody can use recall knowledge anymore to gain research points on this topic.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, so it's it's theoretically, if you used every one of these avenues and you rolled really well, you could get all available research points today if you pursued that. So that's where I was incorrect in the way I laid out the research. But using just now, Natalin and Velynia, nope. I don't know why I put an R in there.
That's how they say it in the South.
I was gonna say that's sort of that's how they say it out in the hinterlands.
Velynia.
Velynia,
Velynia.
Velynia and Lumi.
Wasn't Velynia a character in one of your other shows?
Velynia was M's character in Tomb of Annihilation.
That's funny. Well, there you go. It's my own damn fault.
Should have done your research.
So here's what you recall about the pit.
Shit.
It is a mysterious open shaft in the heart of the rocky escarpment known as Devil's Platter. It is located just over 2 miles southeast of Sandpoint.
Southeast. Oh,
I was
so-
gonna say something because I was looking at it on the map, but
Sorry.
I don't wanna.
Oh, like through the
So-
farmlands? That space?
So the hinterlands are available to you all. The map. You all live in this region, so it's not surprising that you would have that knowledge anyway, that it's in that area. There was just the chance that some of you might know a little bit more about it. And probably Velynia and Natalin are the most likely to be able to go, oh yeah, I know exactly how to get there. It's kind of like where I live. Most people know about the Devil's Soup Bowl, but not everybody can tell you where in the Yankee Springs recreational area it is.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay, so yes. Okay, perfect. So the pit is like between Sandpoint and the farmlands in the Devil's Platter.
Yep, it's a big old, not quite
Oh,
big enough to be considered a
it's like 2.5 miles out of town, maybe 3 miles.
I think that
It's
this
2
map
miles.
that I have might not be accurate because it shows that the Devil's Platter is on the other side of a mountain range.
Here, hold on. Let me send you what I'm looking at here.
We're all pulling out different maps that we have in character, and they all have the Devil's Platter in a slightly different spot.
Right.
It's like, are you
I
sure
mean,
it's only 2 miles?
it's
Are there a whole
I would
mountain
say
range
it's
here?
kind of like mountainous terrain and jagged terrain based on the way it's illustrated on the map, but it's
But
still
as long as we don't have to
the
go
Devil's
through Moria
Platter
to get
is a
there, it's
plateau.
cool.
Yeah.
yes, it is what is known as an escarpment.
Okay.
Escargot.
Gotcha. So So this recall knowledge check, was this essentially just like what we remembered off the top of our head, and then we're gonna go do more research, or
Yeah. There's still more to learn about it if you go talk to Roderick Quink or you ask around town.
Okay.
Those are your three sort of sanctioned, if you will. That doesn't mean that's all you can do. If you think of something else, we can probably figure that out.
Okay.
For the most part,
So I
Xanthus.
think. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go
I
ahead.
apologize. I was just gonna say I think Velynia like sighs and puts her hands on her hips and just says, "Well, how about we all go our separate ways today? Do a little research, ask around. Lumi, you're in fairly tight with old Brodert. You could talk to him. I can ask around the docks. Millie, you can ask around the White Deer. Natalin. Maybe somebody in the House of Bluestones will know more. And we can reconvene tonight. What do we think?
It's about that point that one of the acolytes, in fact, the same acolyte who came and warned you about the gathering crowds outside the front of the cathedral last night, she comes up to the veranda and walks up to Father Xanthus and hands him a rolled up piece of parchment. He takes his knife off the table and uses it to break the wax seal. You see him open up this scroll. You see his eyes darting back and forth across the paper, and you see a frown cross his face. And he kind of purses his lips tightly together. Well, it seems, due to the flood of rumors around town, there is a concern that an unsanctioned ritual has put the town at risk. There is an emergency town hall taking place tonight at 7 p.m. An emergency town hall council meeting open to the public.
That ought to be good.
This, and he holds up the paper, is from Mayor Evelyn herself. And I'm sorry, but it appears as though you all are being, well, invited is the word used, but strongly encouraged to attend is the implication. It seems that we are being brought before the council, of which I might remind them, he says to nobody in particular, that I am a member, for our actions last night.
If they were going to arrest us, why haven't they just done so already?
We did nothing to break the law.
No, we did not.
But certain individuals have been making it their mission in life to agitate crowds. Nonetheless, it appears that the council wants us to account for our actions. It's not surprising, given that Titus Scarnetti is one of the members of the council. No doubt Khan has his ear, and Titus has enough pull on the council. He was able to at least probably raise enough concern that Mayor Deverin thought it prudent to call this emergency council meeting. Well, this is a concern for tonight. Eat, get your fill, and go about your day. But please do meet at the Sandpoint Town Hall at 7 p.m.
I think Velynia grabs like a piece of bread and like a piece of fruit off of the table. And kind of in a huff. Like the way she's moving is just like very annoyed and very brisk and short. And I think she goes, kind of leans to Millie, and sort of quietly just says, I'm still going to go ahead and ask around the docks. And I'll let you know what I find out tonight. When we all get back together, not drinking. And then I put my hand on Millie's shoulder and I just said, Lumi may be a little reticent to talk to me for a little while. I can't explain anymore, but it's going to be... It'll simmer away, I'm sure, but it might take a while. So just keep an eye on her, make sure she doesn't do anything rash. Make sure she's clear of thought.
Is it anything that we should be worried about?
No, it's nothing. Just, she may be a little less than focused. Just make sure she doesn't, I don't know, wander into the sea or something.
I'll keep an eye on her, dear. Don't worry. And did the alkalite leave?
She probably did as soon as she handed the letter to Xantus.
Okay. Millie, what is it? Millie's just gonna kind of, what is it? After she says that we're all being summoned to the town hall, Millie's clocking like what's going on Father Z's face.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to ping his reactions. If there are any reactions, he might just have his face all down in his plate.
His reaction specifically to the summoning?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and make another sense motive.
Specifically, and I think she should get a +2 because she's watching for something specific.
Noted that you think that.
17.
Cool. Glad you think that. Anyway.
17 doesn't change what I'm gonna do next, so.
I think in this case, he's not really concealing his disdain all that much. You can tell that he's annoyed. And you can probably gather that it falls into that. Why does the town council need to be concerned with what goes on at the cathedral?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Who are they to tell him what to do? He's zaddy.
So Millie, what is it? Millie kind of dusts her hands off onto her apron and goes,
Well, so, Abstelar, what do you suggest we say to the council, since this was all your thing? You and your lady friend.
Velynia's gone. I'm so pissed though.
Well, more likely than not, they are going to have some accusations leveled against me at the performing of this ritual. And
What do you suggest we do?
given
Do you
that you
suggest that we tell the truth about what happened? Or that we lie for you?
I would absolutely, under no circumstances, would I even suggest that you tell anything but the truth.
He says, winking profusely. Oh,
Yeah.
Just kidding.
There is nothing that happened last night for which I feel shame or guilt, and neither should you. If anything, it was our ritual and the results of it led to us not even knowing about the coming fate of Sandpoint. You will be asked to speak in front of the council, and your story is yours to tell. That's all he has to say. Unless you pursue further.
Millie just kind of mutters,
It's not exactly our story, though, is it? I assume that you'll be making an appearance at this council meeting as well?
I am on the council.
oh, is
Of course. He said
Did
that.
we already know that?
No, but he said that when he was reading the letter and the summons. He said, "We are summoned to appear before the council, of which I am a member, I might add."
Oh, I thought that was the Alkalite talking, man.
Nope.
Sorry.
That was all Father Xantus. Father Xantus
man.
is represents the Sandpoint Cathedral on the council, the city council or town council, of which there are 7 members. I feel like
The
you
7 dooms!
I feel like you all would probably have known that. I feel like in a town this small, the council members it's known who they are.
Oh yeah, we know who they are.
The council members are, the members of the town council are usually consist of the mayor and representatives from the 4 founding families, and then a couple of additional seats that are usually based on, sometimes are based simply on elections. But there's also a good representation across the various factions in town. If you want to know who they are, I can tell you who they are now, or you can be introduced to them at the...
I personally super don't care.
I think we,
Thanks,
as an
though.
audience, should be introduced to them at the meeting. I think that narratively makes the most sense.
Very well.
My cat is currently eating my level 4 character sheet.
Very well. So Velynia's headed out on her own.
Mhm.
What are the rest of you doing?
Lumi
I just-
packs her leftovers that she couldn't stomach eating into a little, the equivalent of a Tupperware, obviously, for this time period, like a little jar. Puts in her satchel, and I think she just gets up, scoots out of her chair wordlessly, and heads out for the door, leaving all of you behind, knowing full well what she's supposed to be doing here.
I would like to go to the House of the Blue Stones, check out the library down there. And in particular, all of the, like, maybe any chronicles of the
Narnia?
yeah, of the
Yes.
time before, like when Rip Nugget and them, all that passed before when she was a little girl.
Oh.
She'd like to go check those chronicles about that time period.
Yes. Hell of an idea.
What about Millie?
Millie's just going to quickly finish whatever was left on her plate, get up, and kind of huff out.
Hmm.
And she's just going to go to the White Deer and cook, man. She's not going to seek anybody out. She's not talking to anybody about the pit. Like, what is it? She's a little incensed at this point that we're going to have to stand up and defend
Yeah.
something that we're not responsible for.
Yeah.
And she's going to, the entire time she's kneading her dough and stirring her stuff, just be muttering herself like under her breath, like your mom did when she was pissed off at you.
So-
Oh, yeah.
I like to imagine that earlier...
She's going to be so geared up by the time the meeting starts, dude. It's gonna-
imagine-
she's gonna-
earlier in this game, I don't imagine it had happened. We saw sort of a montage of Millie cheerfully working in the kitchen of the White Deer. And I feel like this is that same montage, but the music is darker and it's all Millie doing the same things but angrily.
Yeah, kneading hard. Like, freaking, yes, dude, yes.
Where before it was all like cheerful, upbeat music, this time it's all aggressive action music.
The gluten structure in the bread is so complex. It's gonna be the best bread the White Deer has ever seen. Dude, incredible.
No, angry time is butter churning time.
Oh yeah. I was about to do that motion. I'm not gonna. since I'm
Probably-
on camera.
Yep. Probably best not to do
You
that.
almost got me there, bud.
You guys know churning butter.
Yes. Huh?
Isn't there like a little bit of a twist to it, or am I misremembering?
No, I
Maybe.
don't think so. Like on the old timey stuff, like you'd probably get like splinters.
Yeah, I can't do that. Ow.
Anyway, I'm suddenly feeling very alone with Jay not being here tonight,
Yeah.
and four women
This is
as
what you get. This is
the
what you
conversation topic has gone the way it has.
I want to go directly to Jalevia when I get to the frickin' docks.
Before you do that,
Okay.
okay, so I know Millie's not actively looking for anything.
Hey, Cari, do
Hey,
the thing.
hey, I was just thinking, dude. Same wavelength. Hey,
Yeah,
while
perfect.
Jake is thinking and clearly reading, why don't you check us out on redbubble.com? At redbubble.com, we got all kinds of great designs like the one I'm wearing and the one Tamiko's wearing, which, by the way, is the one I'm wearing. You can get our cool logos on t-shirts, tank tops, hoodies, stickers, mugs, posters, notebooks, postcards, pillows, and all kinds of other great stuff. You can get this cool logo or other ones for your fantasy game, or you can get a couple different cool ones for our Kids on Bikes game. There's always a sale or two to be had over on redbubble.com, especially if it's your first time buying. So why don't you go check us out right now? Again, that's redbubble.com. Just search Mini Terrain Domain.
Logo on your goodies.
Logo on your goodies.
Perfect.
Thanks. I think so. Oh,
I said immediately following that, I said perfect, and then as I put my head down to read, I thought, please don't catch it. Please don't catch it. I didn't mean it that way, and I
God bless. I didn't think you did.
nope. That's why I like you guys.
Well, happy Pride nonetheless.
Double
Ah,
entendres
yes,
all over
happy
the place. Okay, so you're gonna go talk to people down at the docks.
Olivia Stenson.
Millie's gonna anger cook, anger bake.
Rage Bake.
Natalin's going to the House of Blue Stones to do some research. Where's Lumi going?
Broderick Quink,
Okay,
the man whose name sounds like a slur.
it really does.
It does.
Man,
Especially
that
when,
Broderick really is a bit of a quink, isn't he?
especially when Xanthus was like, "Just go talk to Quink."
Guy's a little bit of a
All right, so Velynia,
Yeah.
it's your
So
scene.
I think I would go into like the harbor master's office and sort of unceremoniously just come in. Velynia is also feeling the same way I think that Millie is feeling, like, but not from a like, why are they talking to us? And none of this was our idea, but more like from a kind of from an arrogant place. Like, how dare they like question me? Like how, like, I don't need to explain myself to these people, like that kind of attitude. And so I think Velynia goes just sort of without knocking into the harbor master's office where Jalevia typically is. And
As you come
just
in,
wham.
Jalevia looks up from the logbooks that she's working on, and she just looks up at you and she goes, Ah, Velynia. Come right in. No need to knock.
I'm sorry, I was in a bit of a hurry. 2 questions. First of all, do you have any work for me today?
There's always work to be done. And as long as you stay focused.
Believe me, I'll be very much focused. But thing number 2, it seems as though the mayor, and Velynia kind of raises her eyebrows because like the rumor on the yard is that Jalevia has a little bit of crush on the mayor. And so the mayor seems to want me and my little crew to come to a town hall meeting tonight to explain ourselves. Anyway, I was just wondering if you could either put in a good word, or I mean, your name carries some weight in this town.
I've
I just
heard about the town hall meeting tonight, and I intend to be there. As will apparently much of the town. As for Poe, I haven't much. But
I know.
from what I hear tell, the business that happened last night was Father Xantus and his elf companion. But that it was you and those others that you've been running around with that were, well, as I've heard it told, you were assisting in this ritual.
Yes.
Nothing more than that.
Yes.
You seem to act as though you've been accused of a crime. Is that what was told?
We've been strongly encouraged to attend tonight. And I just don't trust it. I don't like it. I don't like being told what to do.
Mistrust of the government is always a good thing in my book. But, in this case... Look, I don't claim to understand how these councils work. You've got 7 people trying to make coherent decisions for the... however many people live here. I just don't generally trust that they have our best interests in mind. Nonetheless, I also don't see it as a sort of crucible or anything. I don't think you're going to be held over any coals.
If I thought that, I probably wouldn't be here meeting with you. I'd already be miles away.
Ah.
Anyway, well, thank you in advance. I hope that you'll be a friendly voice in the crowd. I don't like how long your pause is, Jalevia.
After you made that comment about how if you thought it was anything more serious, you'd be gone, she just went, ah. And she's kind of now got her arms crossed and just kind of leaning back and seems to be almost reassessing you.
Why are you looking at me like that?
No, in the times I've known you, I've never seen you to just run away from your responsibilities.
My responsibilities? I helped a man of the cloth. I hardly think that makes us married. He's not my responsibility, nor are his affairs.
Did you do anything wrong?
No.
Then why are you sounding so guilty? If you didn't do anything wrong, and all you did was assist the priest with security or whatever else it was you did at this ritual, then what do you have to be worried about? Tell the council as much.
I will. I don't have anything to be worried about. I just don't like having to explain myself to the council as if they are God and judge and jury.
Well, they may not be the gods, but they are certainly judge and jury when it comes to the law in this town.
Great, that makes me feel so much better. Well, I'm not running away now, am I? I'll be there. Just don't like having to explain myself. And I think Velynia would kind of turn and get ready to walk out of the room. And just kind of start, as she's like approaching the door even, she's already assessing the dockyard and seeing like what work needs to be done and where she can boost herself.
As you start to head out the door, she calls after you. Velynia.
I stop and I turn like, yes.
She motions over to a supply shed that's right next to you, and she says, "Get a vest and the bodge gloves. I want you scudding today. Don't want you on the crane, not with that anger. You're already not focused."
And I hate scudding. But I think Velynia Velynia knows that Jalevia is right. Like, her mind is elsewhere. And she just sort of sighs and is like, very well. And then goes and, wow, this is the most mystical
I don't know what happened.
Scraping of barnacles that has ever happened.
So yeah, the kind of work that you're being asked to do is, they call it scudding, scut work, whatever. It's You're basically, you run around the docks. You are absolutely scraping barnacles, but that's only when you're not being told by other dock hands what to do, where to go. And it's not like people lord it over you or mistreat you or anything. It's just that's the role you're filling. That's the job you're being paid for. So are you using this time that you're going to be working today to talk to the people on the docks?
Yeah, I think that throughout, I think honestly this works out best because the other people who are scudding today are these are sort of like the salt of the earth folk that Velynia wants to be talking to, that would have heard rumors and maybe even what makes the different council members tick, how she can convince them of certain things, etc. What are their pet peeves, what not to do in front of them, etc. Just to kind of not even how just to help to best present our case, essentially. And she's talking to these people about it.
So you're talking to the people about the council meeting and not about the pit or anything else?
I guess, yeah, now that the fucking council meeting is on my mind, I would be talking to them about that. The pit can wait. I was gonna talk to him about the pit, but priorities, man.
I will say this very quickly, especially working on the docks. You run into a large number of people that have no idea. They don't care about the politics of the town. They don't bother. They don't even know who all the council members are. They certainly know who, most of them know who Sheriff Hemlock is. And they definitely have, many of them, seen the inside of the Sandpoint jail. Usually for brawling, public drunkenness, just getting thrown in the drunk tank overnight kind of thing.
Yeah.
You find that here on the docks, nobody has anything useful to say regarding your meeting with the council.
Okay. That's it. Velynia's thinking about the pit, but she's not really asking around.
You
too
basically
much.
have 10 hours. So if you decide you want to pursue more later, we can come back to you on that.
Yeah, sure.
That
works.
Natalin, you are heading to the House of Blue Stones. I would like from you This is going to fall under a gather information, same as what Velynia is attempting to do. Unless you have a specific lore that you want to try using, you can also use diplomacy.
Would the lore of local town help me to gather
Yeah.
information? Yeah, then I would use that one.
Okay, yeah, so go ahead and make a recall knowledge, local lore, local town lore, whatever it's called.
Oh, that's a nice number, 26.
26 is a critical success.
Ooh. You know
I
so much.
knew I would be let down by checking the chronicles that would have been kept at that 17 years ago. I knew
Nice.
it.
Yes.
So this is the way that you come across the information, though, is you don't actually learn your information specifically from the books you're researching, but rather you learn the information from throughout the next few hours as you're researching. There we go. As you're researching, you're pulling books, taking books back, grabbing more books. Jabal Sorn shows up over your shoulder at one point. You seem to be on the search for something that seems to elude you. Is there any assistance I can offer you?
I think Natalin would just I think she's like kind of sighs and closes the book that she was kind of like leafing through. She's like, actually, yes. I know I've never asked questions about that time period. I tend to want to forget about it, but 17 years ago, when everything was happening in town and all the chaos, can you tell me more about it and what happened? In particular, goblins, one named Rip Nugget.
As soon as you say Rip Nugget, a shadow crosses her face,
Perfect music cue.
and she actually spits into her hand. And then, so that darkness crosses her face, and she goes, and kind of slaps her thigh with it. And you've seen similar behavior from people in the town anytime the name Rip Nugget was mentioned. Some people make signs against evil. Some people spit on the ground. You suspect that Jabal Sorn spit into her hand and wiped it on her robes in an effort to not spit on the floor at your feet. But nonetheless, Rip Nugget is practically a curse word in this town. Yes, I know this name, and I know of this goblin. He was a scourge here in Sandpoint in the times leading up to the time of troubles. It was this Rip Nugget and his goblin hordes that sought to burn Sandpoint to the ground. They were the ones starting the fires.
I remember that. I was so scared.
The heroes that helped us to stop Nawalia and Ripnugget all those years ago. They said that they killed him in his hideout at Thistletop. Well, I have heard, and I take these stories, you know how I am when it comes to rumors and gossip. I take no stock in it, it's folly. But these were accounts, came from trusted sources that heard some of these things straight from the mouths of goblins themselves. It has been said that Ripnugget has indeed returned from the dead. He's some sort of undead creature, but nobody can seem to put a name on it. Something different than a ghoul or a zombie, or a wight even. Some of these local goblins confirm that Ripnugget's spirit has been haunting his old lair at Thistletop. But that was destroyed by a band of seven-toothed goblin alchemists a few years back. The curious thing is, the goblins said that those very alchemists that destroyed Thistletop, they turned up dead not long after taking Ripnugget's armor as a trophy. If this is true, Ripnugget has learned from his death and is playing it sly, which cannot be good for us. If there is any truth to these rumors, and I believe that there may indeed be some semblance of truth to it, there will be something that should be taken care of quickly and quietly. Is that why you ask, Natalin? Should I dare ask what you and your friends are up to?
Might be best not to, but
Or will I find out at the council meeting tonight?
Natalie's a little confused at that. She's like, I don't know. It's gonna go at the council meeting tonight, but I guess I'll be there too. We'll find out what they want to know. But also, yes, I am curious because I've heard the name, and she won't say it again because she doesn't want to poor Jabil to have to spit again in her hand. I've heard the name a couple of times the last few days, or I guess last couple of weeks. So I was curious about why and who he was.
I will see if I can find the specific information as I recall it. If I'm able to find more detailed information from that time, I will set it aside for you.
Oh, thank you so much. And Natalin would do the polite bow to Jabil for that. I would appreciate that so much.
I have made a note that Jabo Sorn owes you additional lore.
Amazing.
Since you got a critical success, I know there's a little bit more information that would be about Rip Nugget and his involvement during the time of troubles, but I don't have that immediately handy.
Yeah, and I think with getting that information, Natalin would definitely like say her goodbyes, thank Jabil again, for the information, and then let her be and go back to, I guess, like the Rusty Dragon and just kind of prepare for the council meeting.
Perfect. Before we go to Lumi, we're going to go into the kitchen of the White Deer, where Millie is aggro
The music.
cooking. And I would like you to tell me 3 items that you are baking, cooking, preparing, whatever, during the day.
Besides the anger butter.
Well, the anger butter can be one of them.
Okay.
Thing.
So she's churning up a whole thing of anger butter, and then made with hate, and then made with malice, and then what is it? She's also going to bake up. Some berry muffins and some oatmeal cookies. A lot of oatmeal cookies, and there's a reason for this. Remember how I said Millie's not going to go out and talk to anyone? I have a whole ass feat for hobnobbing, and I feel like I shouldn't pass that up.
Oh.
So later on, after she's done baking, Millie's going to spend her hour or whatever.
Yeah, doesn't hobnobbing turn a 2-hour task into a 1-hour task? Perfect.
Yep. It halves the time.
Yep.
So, because it keeps saying typically it takes 2 hours.
Yeah.
Typically takes 1 hour. But yeah, so she'll go out and about and try to get information to try to find out what the hell Karn's been telling everybody since last fucking night.
Yeah.
Okay, so anger butter. Here's what I want. I'm gonna have you roll a
There's gonna be
D100,
rolls.
and I'm gonna roll a D100.
Wait, what do you want me to roll?
I want you to roll a D100, and I'm gonna roll a D100.
How do?
We're seeing how many people your anger butter kills.
Nope. I'm gonna roll a D100, and the closer our numbers are together,
59.
the higher the quality of the item you create.
Oh,
If you roll you and I roll the exact same number, whatever you're making will have a special property.
Oh.
If
I like that you're laying out the rules, Jake. This scratches a special part of my brain. I like that there's rules that we know them going in.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's it. I can't think of the condition that would make sense for it to be really bad, other than on a sliding scale. I can't figure that out off the top of my head, so we'll just go with this. $16. Okay. That's a difference of 43. So it's not the best butter you've made, but it's not the worst either. It's one of those things where you go to a restaurant you like all the time, and you tell your friends, you're like, oh, you gotta try the butter here. Millie hand churns it herself. It's amazing, especially if you get the kind that comes in the crockery. And then somebody's there and they have their friend there and they try it and they're like, it was butter. You're like, no, I swear it's usually better than this.
Oh my God.
What was you said berry muffins?
Yep.
All right, let's see how these muffins turn out.
I like this system.
Seriously? 58.
Wow.
Oh. Oh,
64.
Oh, that's a difference of 6. Just 6.
These are some of the best berry muffins that you have ever made.
Yes.
These are the kind of muffins that somebody would want to take one of these muffins and immediately set it up on a table with some cutlery, a mug of ale, a crockery of butter, and a candle, and start painting a still life.
Oh,
It's just
oh.
perfect muffins.
Excellent.
Now let's find out how your oatmeal cookies that you're going to hobnob with, how they turn out.
Oh dear.
Since you're cooking them in volume,
If I roll a 10 and a 0, that's just 10, right?
yes.
Yes.
Since you designated you are making a large volume of these, and you're making them specifically to assist in your skill, after I roll my D100, if you're not happy with the result, you can re-roll once.
Ooh, because volume.
So you got a 10. That is a 46. That's a difference of
Re-roll it.
36.
You think? That I should?
Do it. Yes, I do.
So now the question
The
is,
freebie.
is she re-rolling to match my 40? Yeah, I think so. We'll leave the 46 stands, and you re-roll to see if you can get closer to it.
No, I think if I re-roll, you should re-roll too.
Oh,
Okay.
Fair's
true
fair.
random. I like it.
74.
Oh,
no!
It was so close.
I like the on-screen rolling. That was so fucking close.
Was it,
It was almost to 89.
Yes, it was. Oh,
so it's
Eh.
like 40 something difference.
you win some, you lose some.
He used the fresh butter
Yeah, these-
in the oatmeal cookies.
Yeah, they got some of that that bitter butter. They're like I said, they're not
I thought the bitter butter was better.
in this case.
Only a bit of bitter butter is better.
The
A bit of
bitter
bitter butter
was
is
not
better.
better this time. It was little just bitter.
And it wasn't Betty who made the bitter butter either.
I mean, to be fair, it's not like Millie cooks stuff and then hands it out without tasting it. So she knows that these cookies suck. So odds are she's probably gonna just give them to the pigs.
Aw.
Whoever has pigs later, and she's just gonna take her muffins.
The pigs are gonna love them. The pigs are gonna be so
Well,
happy.
so you're gonna hobnob with the muffins instead.
Yeah.
Since your muffins were what, 6 from perfect,
6. Yes.
I'll give you a +2 to your hobnobbing check, circumstance bonus.
Oh.
Cool. So
What I love is that I laid out all these different people, places, and things you could research. And not one of you, well, I take that back. One of you is researching the things I laid out. The other 2 of you are like, I want to know what's going to happen at this council meeting. I want to know what the hell's Kaeryn saying about me.
This is your own doing, though. You're just like, hey, look over here, and then when we look over there, you're like, ah, you fucking losers.
well, despite the magical muffins, I got I guess it's not terrible. It's 26.
That's not bad at all.
Look, I've got a +13 on this bish.
Yeah,
it's
So
not
here's the
great.
thing.
In general, you can turn a Pathfinder roll into a D&D roll by subtracting your level. So that would be like getting a
Hey.
21 in D&D, which is really good.
That's a good way to
Okay.
think of it. That's cool. I like that math.
I just saw an 11 and went, me.
Could be better.
Okay. So what's interesting is you are you are technically dipping your toes into a challenge that... It's kind of like in Baldur's Gate 3 when you stumble on a higher level quest line. Because there's a whole sub thing here in Strange Times in Sandpoint that has to do with Karn. So here's what I'm going to do. You'll have to make a note of this because I might not actually remember this. Your 26 is a critical success on your gather information task. Okay?
Oh.
What that's going to do for you is, in addition to what I tell you, is it's going to give you I think I'm adding this to your earlier critical success when you were doing the smear campaign against Kaeryn. And I'm going to give you a permanent +2 circumstance bonus anytime you are directly, or in some cases indirectly, but anytime you are directly dealing with Kaeryn or the stuff that comes out of his mouth.
Awesome.
What you...
I'll take it.
Basically what you learn with this is talking around town and you know, you run into that usual reticence when you're starting to try to get people to talk about things that they don't want to talk about. They don't want to talk about... Not many people want to talk about the Scarnettis, mostly because of fear of retaliation. Almost every time it's met with, you know, making sure there's nobody nearby. There's so yeah, there's just a lot of that, and a lot of it is just people are just like, man, I don't want to talk about this. But as soon as you pull out those muffins, people take a bite of the muffin and they're like, you know,
come to think of it.
and basically what you learn is that for the longest time it was always assumed that Kaeryn's Scarnetti would inherit his father's lucrative businesses because Kaeryn is the eldest son. Basically taking over for the Scarnetti consortium. But ever since the goblin attacks on the town 17 years ago, which coincidentally was when Kaeryn himself turned 17, and he was primed to start taking on a larger role in his father's business, things just haven't gone well for the Scarnettis. There was a grisly murder at the Scarnettis lumber mill in town not long after the goblin raid. It set back the family's productivity for months. And then when Sandpoint was attacked by giants and a dragon, Scarnetti Manor suffered extensive damage. During the cleanup and repair work, evidence of collusion between the Scarnettis and the Bunyip Club came to light, and rather than focus on rebuilding their home and business, the family was forced to go on the legal defensive for years.
Jacob, remind me, because the name is so cute. I know it's not cute. Who are the Bunyips?
The Bunyip Club? It's in the... Hold on, I just saw it.
It sounds adorable, like bunnies. Bunyips.
Yep.
But it does.
It's not. It's something dark.
It
sounds like a Pokemon.
Bunyan.
Sounds like a Pokemon.
Dark Brotherhood?
So, not quite that bad. Think local Thieves Guild.
Mm.
So, go figure. The Scarnettis teamed up with the local Thieves Guild. By the time the family was regaining its footing a few years ago with the establishment of the Scarnetti Consortium, Kaeryn had gotten frustrated with what he perceived to be a combination of his father's failure to manage the business, and the constant meddling of adventurers stirring up trouble. His recent attempts to discredit Father Xantus, and stirring up people in the town about him contacting Welia's spirit is, in one old-timer's words, as he says through a mouthful of delicious muffin, I think it's just because he's a crybaby piss boy. I'm the eldest boy. I deserve everything. And when things didn't go his way, he just started kicking sand up around town, and it just so happens he's kicking sand into Father Xantus' face.
What a shame.
I don't see this kind of thing very often, but, well, I feel like if you were to look up one of Broderick Quink's books and you were to look for the definition of a whiny-ass bitch, you'd find Cardin Scarnetti in there.
Oh my heavens. But you're probably right.
Immediate smash cut over to Lumi entering Bart's home. Hey, I'm looking for a book.
Like,
There's
perfect, that's perfect.
I'm looking for a book.
Ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling. That's amazing. I love it.
Perfect
I love
transition doesn't exist.
Yep.
It. Yeah, right. Perfection.
So, just make your note and remind me that you have a permanent +2 for future dealings with Kaeryn Scarnetti. Lumi, you show up at Broderick Quink's. Weirdly, as you go to knock, the door just suddenly opens up.
Oh my god.
Oh! It's you!
Oh, hi.
I thought I heard somebody shuffling around outside.
Lumi looks behind her. I didn't hear anything.
I heard the pitter-patter of your little clawed feet.
She'll look down sheepishly at her own little paws and... Well, you're right, I did come here. Can I talk with you?
Always!
She says as she looks over her shoulder.
Always, of course. Come on in. I was just putting tea on. Would you like some?
Oh, I would... Yeah, I would love some, thank you.
I have a nice blend of lavender and hinterland hibiscus.
Ooh.
As a non-tea person, I don't know if lavender and hibiscus go together. But...
Lavender goes with anything.
That sounds lovely, thank you.
He gives you a few minutes to sort of get settled, as the kettle was already on, and he had a teacup and saucer, and he's got a little sugar bowl with some sugar, and a little tiny sugar spoon with it, and another little container that's got some fresh milk in it. Should you take sugar or milk? And there's even a little
sugar
honey pot, with one of those little wooden honey things. And he comes over and places the. I like to think that he has like what are they called? Like tea balls, the compressed tea. And puts it in there, and then pours the tea over, and
He invented it.
Just a few minutes of him just sort of taking care of all that. Then he settles down, and once he's put a little bit of milk, a little bit of sugar, and a little bit of honey in his tea. Now, what is it that brings you here yet again?
Oh, well, I was wondering. And she tries to like pull a bit of like fake enthusiasm together. I was wondering if what you would know about the pit. You know, the one that's up on the Devil's Platter, southeast of town. I think that my adventures might take me there in the near future, and I was wondering if what you know about the place.
Well, I know of the place quite well, actually. Quite a few people here in Sandpoint know of it, especially if you're out in the hinterlands, but seeing as it's upon the Devil's Platter, not many people go seeking out after a hole that delves deep into the ground for fear of what might be in there. But I do have a collection of old books and tomes that mention it here and there. Different authors, for various reasons, have brought up reference to it. You are, of course, welcome. I'm going to show you something. And he walks over to a section over by where the part of his home that has his extensive collection of books is. And there's a little table there that has it has a you see prominently displayed on this table that has a piece of red velvet draped all the way to the floor is the ceremonial dagger that you found in the Hellstorm catacombs. And you see that leaning against the wall near there is the Ronsuer. But he almost looks conspiratorially around, and then he lifts up the velvet, and you see what looks like a card catalog. And it's probably, we'll say it's 4x4, wooden made. So there's 16 drawers there. He says, "This is not like your normal index. This is a system of my own design that not only helps you to find certain reference works, it is also indexed by subject. It is a cross-reference library. This will aid you in your searches."
I call it Google.
I call it the Dewey Decimal System.
Why would I call it the Dewey Decimal System? It would be the Quink Decimal System.
Damn
You
right.
can't really use that. It sounds like a slur.
I was trying to think of a clever alliteration. Broadart's books. Broadart's.
Nope.
He just starts kind of mulling over it. Broadart's book. Well, you are free to
Broadart's bullet points.
you are free
going?
to
That's
continue to do your research. I'll just be over here, and he grabs a piece of parchment and Broadart's books, finding bullet points, Quink's quizzical oddity, and he just starts
Smuttering.
mumbling and so you are looking up things about the pit.
The Broadart's book blueprint, of course.
You are
Oh.
using
Yeah, and yeah, she'll start like, I think she has a little quirk that she'll do every time she starts like delving into like books and stuff. Like, you know, it's not quite like, oh, you know, tuck the hair behind the ear and stick a pen up there to hold it back, but something like that she always does as she gets to business here, rummaging through the books on the pit. She hopes that this will take her mind off of things.
Quink's quick books.
That's amazing.
All right, so you are going to be using either academia lore, library lore, perception, or an argument for one of your other skills.
Okay. Sorry, what was the skills that you?
Academia lore, library lore, perception, or something else you make a case for.
Yeah, perception would be the best one I'll use here. I guess if this is just a lore check, I can take a -2 penalty to my esoteric lore to use it instead. Okay, I'll just do that. I'll pick academia lore, using my diverse knowledge. Yeah, using my diverse knowledge ability. Okay. Wow, her head is not in the game today. That is 3 + 11 for a total of 14.
That's because she's heartbroken. I just wanted to put
She's-
that out there.
The words,
Yes.
the words on the page just like don't quite cement in her brain. Do you ever do the thing where like you're reading over paragraphs of dense text and it kind of just like blurs out in front of you?
And
you-
every
you
other
you
words-
realize that you're 3 pages in and you haven't actually read anything. You're just thinking about something else. That's
Exactly.
exactly what's happening to Lumi.
And every other word maybe it says Velynia. It's just
Oh.
it's hard.
It's probably why after about an hour, with a empty, or rather a teacup that is just the dregs at the bottom, and a piece of parchment filled with scratched out ideas, he kind of throws down his pen and he comes walking over and he goes, "Oh, I see that you've pulled up Sorensen's restaurateur. What are you? Oh my! You are researching the wrong pit. See here," and he basically tells you that you've spent the last hour following footnotes and references to a youth hangout in Magnamar called the Pit.
Oh Lord. this underground music scene, this punk scene, yeah.
It's not
Like
even
the
that,
Max in,
because
Saved by the Bell.
I was gonna say the pit or the Peach Pit was the hangout in Saved by the Bell, so it's definitely
Yes.
it's more like Magnamar beach rock.
We're gonna go out to hang out the pit after school.
So yeah, you waste an hour basically on that, but you can still make another attempt.
Okay, I will do so. $21, as I realize that I am looking at the wrong pit.
21 is a success, which will give you another point, but it's not quite enough to hit you up to the next research threshold. At this point, you're 2 hours in. You can choose to spend another 2 hours if you wish.
She's definitely gonna do so.
Okay.
This is like, you know what? The longer that she spends doing this, the less that she has to spend doing anything else. So she keep putting her nose in the books. And she has all these books open.
Distraction.
Exactly. Distract herself out of this abyss.
All right, so
That was so close to a natural 20. On my next roll, I got a 25.
what's the skill you're using?
I'm doing academic lore.
What is your bonus on that?
Plus 11.
I don't know why in my mind, when you said that was almost a crit, my mind just automatically assumed, oh, well, then it was a 19 then. That's not how dice
No,
work.
as in like the physical die.
Right.
Was a 20
Yeah.
and then ticked down to a 14.
My brain said, nope, that's a 19. But then I was like, wait, that's not how dice work at all. I was trying to figure out how you almost had a nat 20, but then got such a lower number, which is still a success, which gives you 4 RP at the pit, on the pit. What you're able to learn about it is, one, you realize that you would have to do a lot more research to really... It doesn't seem like a lot of people have a lot of information that you're able to tell about the actual interior of the pit itself. Although your only approach has been to take the academic approach. So from a chronicler's point of view, you do find sort of very academic information that says that the safest route to the pit is to take the Lost Coast Road south to Cougar Creek Road.
Cougar Creek, you say?
Yep. Then
I'm a young kobold who's
Well, let's go.
Then follow the road southeast past Trennell's Farm and Sarl's Farm. Turn east along Wisher's Trail. Upon reaching Wisher's Well, head north. The rise up to the Devil's Platter is rough, but climbable there. The pit itself is about a half-mile north of the climb. Locals mention that Broderick Quink likely knows more about the pit, and if he doesn't, there's surely more information among his collection of old books, which is weird because that's where you just got this information.
I find an account that says, to find out more, check out Broderick's old book. I'm like, and I look around, I literally look up and I look around at like the 20 tomes around me. Well, there's that lead, I guess, she'll say.
So, I would like you to make me a charm check. Nope, I do that every game. It's not charm, it's charisma.
Diplomancy? No.
I think diplomancy would be a great idea.
Would it be diplomacy? I'm trying to see how much of an impression you've made on Broderick Quink.
Oh, diplomacy. Yeah.
I don't know why I keep trying to make everybody make charm rolls in games other
Charm
than
makes
Kids
the
on
most
Bikes.
sense. That's why.
And yes, make an impression is under the diplomacy.
Well, there you go.
Right, I will do some diplomancy. That's a 19 plus 11 for a total of 30.
Wow. So
It was almost a natural one.
Oh.
And it ticked over to the 19 at the very end.
Oh,
I'm like,
hell yeah.
woo-hoo.
Hell yes.
Okay, I gotta double check because Broderick Quink. Up until this point, Broderick Quink has been friendly because of bringing him Thessalonian artifacts and everything else. That was a critical success. You have bumped him from friendly to helpful.
Oh.
You have maximized his attitude toward you. As they say in Oblivion, you've reached the maximum influence of this character.
That's awesome.
Did I do it through like making like compliments, bribes, jokes, and I can't remember the fourth one.
Intimidation.
Intimidation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Coercions. Yeah.
Listen, old man.
Here.
I like to imagine that there's this intermittent, it's a montage, but it's one of those montages where we see in my mind, it's immediately written in or illustrated in the style of the Lo-Fi Girl thumbnail. You know what I'm talking about from YouTube?
That's exactly what this is. Yeah.
This is the animation, but we see Lumi lying on her stomach with her feet kicked up as she's flipping through books, and then it just does a quick cut, and it's Lumi sitting with her feet up on the table.
Couch. Yeah.
And then Broderick just walks by, scribbling on notepad, reaches down and moves Lumi's feet off. And then there's a cut to the two of you drinking tea again and having somehow one or two of Millie's amazing blueberry muffins appear
somehow
illustrated
end up
on the
here.
table.
Yeah.
And then at some point, the two of you end up playing a game. Probably like Dragon Chess or something like that.
Cool.
And it's while you're playing this game that Broderick says, and it's while you specifically are thinking of your next move, that you can tell he's trying to be helpful, but he's also trying to distract you from the game, as he says, you know, I have been to the Devil's Platter. I've seen the pit myself.
You have? What did you see? As she makes a very bad move.
It's about 50 feet across. And who knows how deep it is, 'cause it's always filled with fog. You can't see more than 50 feet down. A few ledges can be seen that lead down the inner shaft to some caves. Now, there are some that say that the Sandpoint devil lives at the bottom of the pit. You know, adventurers used to go to the pit semi-regularly. But it's so dangerous down there that most people these days choose to adventure elsewhere. In fact, a while back there was a group of adventurers that attempted to explore the pit, including Alma Averton's daughter, Erica. But Erica claims they ran afoul of the Sandpoint devil. She was the only survivor of her adventuring party. I believe that's checkmate.
Oh.
You rascal, she says as she begins to like move her pieces back to the starting positions.
So I will
I love Broderick so much.
remind me at the end of this. I will give you the information that I narratively gave you. I will give you the summaries in the Discord.
Yes, it definitely was Tamiko.
For all of you, though, eventually the sun begins to get lower and lower on the horizon. It's still a good hour to two before full sunset this time of year, probably an hour, as 7 o'clock approaches. And regardless of where you are, you all notice that a large number of people begin making their way towards the town hall as early as 6:30. Businesses that would normally be open are closing. In fact, Bethana Corwin closes the Rusty Dragon.
Ooh.
Is she on the council?
She's not on the council.
Okay.
But you realize, by the sheer number of people that are moving towards the town hall, that a lot of people want to know what's going on. Do you all go to the town hall?
I think Velynia is like kind of walking hurriedly, and she like washes her face like in a rain barrel, and like on the way she like there's like a flower bed of some sort. She picks a flower and like scrubs it between her hands and like puts it on herself because she freaking stinks from working all day. As she's like walking this whole time.
Lumi would have probably returned pretty quickly to Father Xanthus' side, and probably won't be leaving his side too much until he's forced to go sit on the council side of the town hearing.
Mm-hmm.
Natalin was not probably expecting Bethana to close so quickly or early, so she kind of hurries up her getting ready and would probably accompany Bethana and the others from the Rusty Dragon. To go
I
to
think
this meeting, yeah.
as you're walking along, Moa, also not expecting Bethana to close so early, Moa has one of Bethana's mugs full of ale. And he just, as you're walking down the street, you just see him from under a cloak, just kind of pulls the mug and takes a drink. But you notice that he stays behind Bethana, so she doesn't see that he has one of her mugs outside the building proper.
Millie will go and, put on a clean dress and a clean apron and fill her flask up with some whiskey. And be prepared. And she'd probably, I imagine that she'd probably start walking to the town hall with Garridan, since we're both coming from the White Deer.
Yeah.
Cool.
We might even fall in step with Lumi and Father Xanthus. Maybe not. I guess it depends how early they went. Because we're not about to be super early.
I gotta say, I think Father Xanthus would be probably pretty early, don't you think? Doesn't he strike you as a 15 minutes early, as 10 minutes late kind of guy?
Yeah, I think with the exception of Lumi, when the rest of you get there, or rather when the rest of you get there, you would find that Lumi is already seated. In fact, as you arrive, you enter the tall vaulted chamber of Sandpoint's town hall. And already the air is thick with tension and sweat. There's so many bodies packed into this place. Wooden benches groaning under the weight of a packed house. Dozens and dozens of town folks sitting shoulder to shoulder. There's a mezzanine that goes all the way around the top, that more throngs of people are up there murmuring to each other in low tones. You see some familiar faces around town. Some nod respectfully, others stare tight-lipped and weary. Karn Scarnetti is leaning against a column at the back of the chamber. He's got a good dozen of his supporters, some of whom you recognize from being at the outside the cathedral the night before. All grim-faced.
Real quick, could I intentionally bump his shoulder on the way in? Excuse me, brah.
You can do it, but I would remind you that there are dozens and dozens of people watching you.
I will do it as deftly as I can.
Then I will require a stealth check from you.
Perfect. Can do. I will do that. Here I go. Stealth check is a fucking 31.
As you are all walking in and eyes are turning towards you, Karn has he just has this glint in his eye and a smirk. And as he kind of leans forward a little bit, and then he goes to lean back against the pillar. And that's when you sort of bump him, and throw him off balance, and he, instead of landing smoothly and neatly against the pillar, he kind of stumbles into one of his lackeys, and they kind of push him upright, and you can see you definitely made him look a fool.
Terribly sorry.
You notice
Make eye contact.
as you approach the front of the room, you see that the council is all seated. Mayor Kendra Deverin, Kay Tezzerani, who is 1, Sheriff Hemlock's wife, and 2, the owner and proprietor of the Pixie Kitten, Titus Scarnetti, Broderick Quink, Jubrail Visky, Abstelar Xantis, and Jasper Korvosky. There is a section of seats set up to the side. Wow, that's a mouthful.
Section 7.
Where guest speakers would normally be seated. And as the rest of you are entering, you see Lumi sitting there all by herself because she arrived with Father Xantis. Eventually, you see that you are motioned to take seats in that area. As you do so, there's something that shifts in the room. And a hush starts at the front of the room and kind of flows like a wave to the back of the room. There's suddenly a heavy banging, single banging sound as Mayor Kendra Deverin strikes the table in front of her with a gavel. This meeting is now in session, she says firmly. And that is where we're going to end tonight's session.
Fuck.
Yeah, there's no way I can get this done in a time that's reasonable.
Start the next time.
But you guys all threw me for a loop because initially none of you went for the normal trails of inquiry that I had laid out.
Does that really surprise you?
No, not at all. But there were certain things that I did in preparation for tonight in which I prepared for multiple outcomes, but that was not one of them. So
amazing, guys.
I will
Just
tell
gotta keep
you
you on your toes.
I will tell you that in next week's session, which will be our
Last one before the hiatus, right?
no, we have
So?
we have 2 sessions.
No, we got 2 more because
Penultimate.
yeah,
the
penultimate.
penultimate. That's a hell of a word,
Yeah.
dude. That's an
Love that
SAT
word.
word.
Love that word.
So
Great word.
this session will be the presentation before the council, and each one of you will be expected to speak in front of the council.
Ooh,
And there will be
good thing I
dice
took
rolls
that
that accompany.
diplomacy.
There will be
Oh,
dice
dear God.
rolls that will go along with that. So yeah, that was the first episode of Chapter 2, which
I'll
will
point out Velynia is sitting in a particularly non-demure manner in this little jury box.
Millie specifically made sure that she sat next to Lumi so that, because there's clearly something going on with her and Velynia.
Yeah, there. Yep, perfect.
This isn't even like a jury box. It's very much like the council is set up at the head of this room, and picture like you've seen in historical movies where it's less To Kill a Mockingbird courtroom and more like I can't think of what that movie
Dude, I was thinking it was like Parks and Rec.
It's not even that big.
Like a
It's-
podium at the front,
it's-
like we're in front of them.
So that's similar, but you got the chairs you guys are sitting in are sort of off to the side of where the council is, and everybody else is just jammed all around. I can't think of the movie it had.
I'm gonna need a diagram, Jake. I need you to make us a diagram.
Well, maybe for some reason I'll go and make an owlbear rodeo, and we'll just have a courtroom.
You have a courtroom.
We'll have a town hall, and I just have like 100 tokens on there to represent all the townsfolk.
I cast fireball.
But anyway, I wanted to give you the heads up that you will
Okay.
each be asked to speak in front of the council. So
Oh,
with
boy.
that,
Uh-oh. Okay.
Thank you everybody for tuning in tonight. We appreciate everybody that hangs out with us in the chat, through support, through if you're lurking or watching the VODs later. We appreciate you once again, and I believe actually I don't think you did use it. Happy birthday, Cari.
Thank you.
Your-
I'm saving it for my
your
speaking
booth-
engagement.
Your birthday domain dice remains up there. But yeah, this is next week will be the penultimate, and then on the 30th will be the final episode until the break, and until the first full week of August. So
Indeed.
thank you as always to these amazing players who somehow, even in downtime, managed to keep me on my toes. Thank you, Vi, Kaeryn, Tamiko, Cari, and though he wasn't with us tonight, he was with us in spirit, Jay, without whom this would just be me talking to myself for a couple hours. With that, we're going to end this stream the same way we end every stream, and you can say it with me if you want.
How deep is the hole?